And it's a warm welcome to show 2020. What an achievement. And in continuing with the evolution of this show, we've now got to the stage where, after scripting everything to the decimal point and the full stop and the comma in episode 1, we're now completely unscripted, unplanned, and kind of riffing a little bit. But that's okay. That's okay. I think we can do this. We kind of worked last week, so I should be okay this week. Just time is forever a premium, and where does it go? Where does it go? It's crazy. Okay, so usual show coming up. We've got a few exciting arrivals, some very exciting arrivals, and the usual on loan bits, and new releases. New releases just came in. And I kind of feel guilty about this week's new releases because I got them all from the same place, which is Amazon. Of course, they let me down with one-day delivery, so it just came in today. But yeah, let's have a look at what we've got. The big film of the week, Abigail. I know very little about it because I don't keep up to date with any new movies. But yeah, it's the filmmakers behind Ready or Not, which was really cool. That was a great film. I did like that a lot. Scream and Scream 6. I haven't seen Scream 6 yet, so I don't know what that's like. But nevertheless, this has got a decent pedigree to it. I thought it was worthy of getting a Blu-ray and a DVD of this. So here it is. Abigail, that is this week's big movie. Second biggest movie of the week hasn't yet come in. Amazon are out of stock, which is annoying. I must switch to HMV. I really should. But it's just, convenience. What I'm exactly against kind of takes over, which is annoying. But yeah, Love Lies Bleeding should have been in today, but it hasn't come in. So that's annoying. Hopefully it will be in tomorrow or Friday. So what else we got here? Let's have a look. Yeah. La Chimera. Help me out. Written and directed by Alice Rohrwacher. Looks interesting. Set in the 1980s in the former Etruscan landscape of rural Italy, a vagabond-type character is mourning the loss of his love. Ancient tombs, artifacts, and the door to the afterlife. Looks pretty fantastic. Certainly all the star ratings on the back tend to suggest that it was given a universally euphoric review. Stars Isabella Rossellini, which is fantastic, with the lead actor being Josh O'Connor. So that's interesting. That should be a very cool film. It's released by Curzon, who tends to be a badge of honor. So that should be fairly cool. Certainly one of the most anticipated films of the week. We're onto the boutique Blu-rays now. One of the most anticipated films of the week is Eureka's Message from Space, which looks absolutely fantastic. Sonny Shiba and the late great Vic Morrow. That should be brilliant, shouldn't it? Tohei's answer to the barnstorming box office success of Star Wars. Yeah, somewhere in a far-flung galaxy far, far away. It looks amazing. It really does. I mean, it's copied Star Wars direct to the artwork in many respects, and I guess that guy's meant to be Yoda up there. So yeah, I can't wait to watch this. Probably far more excited to watch this than Star Wars. But yeah, really good. You could keep on pumping out these awesome Asian releases, and they show no sign of stopping. Very cool indeed. So yeah, looking forward to that a great deal. This is always a tricky one, isn't it really? When you got a film on DVD, you got a film on Blu-ray, and it's like, comes out in Criterion, and you think, well, do I upgrade? It's a difficult one. It really is, because you think to yourself, well, is it justified? But with this, I think it is justified. I bought the Criterion edition of Blowout, which of course is a dual format. It comes with the Blu-ray and also with the UHD. It's an immense film, one of Brian De Palma's best films. And yeah, I thought there's not many films that I have on Blu-ray that I would upgrade purposefully to 4K UHD. I'm a fan of 4K UHD, it's fine. But I'm not bowled over by it. You know, for me, Blu-ray is absolutely adequate. I know I sound like a Philistine saying this, but it's like I saw the Vinegar Syndrome release of Reptilicus this week, which is very good, enjoyably silly film that I really did enjoy watching. But it's on 4K, and it kind of baffled me why they would go to the expense of putting it on 4K. I know 4K is the best format, obviously. You know, I'm not an idiot, but Reptilicus, the age of it, and the nature of it, the low budget nature, you kind of think to yourself, well, isn't Blu-ray just adequate? Isn't that adequate? It seems to be kind of shoehorning a lot of films into 4K that maybe don't need to go there. I mean, I was talking to 88 Films recently, and they said that they're still not, they're barely breaking even on 4K UHD releases. A lot of them are running as loss makers. And you think, well, to release something on 4K UHD, it has to be something really, really special. So it just baffles me that some of these films come out on that format, when personally I think Blu-ray is absolutely fine. But yeah, with this, I might make an exception. I have made an exception because, you know, it is one of the great films of all time. Well, we got the, packed by the special features, including an interview with Brian De Palma conducted by Noah Baumbach. So that should be good. What else we got on our magic box of new releases? Die Monster Die. Bit of a strange release from the BFI. Doesn't normally fall under their purview. But nevertheless, it's an exciting release. I have this on DVD in store as it stands. And of course, it's great to have this AIP movie in on Blu-ray. Of course, produced by Sam Arkoff, dating from 1965. And it comes with some great special features, lots of new stuff as well. You know, interviews with Carlos' biographer, and other bits and bobs like that. So yeah, that's it's a great upgrade. Really good upgrade. So pleased with that. What else we got? What's next? No, this is an exciting release. It's one of those where there's always a film in a filmmaker's canon which kind of gets pushed to one side and everyone forgets about. Be it, I don't know, maybe 1941 with Spielberg. Maybe, I don't know, what would you say, Cursed with Wes Craven, maybe. Memoirs of an Invisible Man with John Carpenter. But yeah, with George A. Romero, it's certainly Bruiser. So for Indicator to give Bruiser this lavish release is really, really exciting. I've never seen it before. I know Matty Budrevich is a massive fan of this film. And I've kind of been waiting. I've had the kind of budget DVD of this for quite some time. I forget what label it came out on. But and I've held off, but now is definitely the time to take in Bruiser. Really can't wait for this. Great release. And Indicator are certainly delivering the goods in terms of the films that they're putting out. Really, really exciting. And I think they just announced some great Halloween releases, didn't they? I forget what it was, but it was very exciting. Oh, I think it was a classic, like Columbia Horror or something like that, 6-movie box set. Might have been under the studio, but still looks great. Anyway, finally on the boutiques, we have another great Asian release from Eureka. It's the Double Crosses from the director of the Skyhawk, which we have in, and King Boxer. King Boxer, one of the best Shaw Brothers movies. So yeah, this looks like a great film that was made shortly after Bruce Lee's death. Kind of can be interpreted as a kind of dry run for a Bruce Lee replicating superstar. And for this they chose Chen Sing. I haven't seen this before now, and it looks pretty cool. So I think that's a really good stack of boutique releases, to be honest. And by the time Love Lies Bleeding comes in, which looks really exciting, then I think that's a fairly good. Well, there's one other film as well. It was a J. Lee Thompson film that just got reissued this week via what's his face, Studio Canal Vintage Classics. So yeah, that's due on Blu-ray as well. So it's a really strong week. So that's good. That's exciting. So yeah, they are this week's new releases. Moving on, should we have a look at what's on loan? Again, it's been a really crazy week in store. It just has. It's just been a record breaker of a week this past week. I guess it's just a perfect storm of a bit of press, a bit of social media coverage, and a bit of just a bit of everything really. But it's been absolutely fantastic. It's great the best part is seeing so many new people just kind of walking in and having a great look around, and just being really excited about not the films that they're renting, but the films that they're coming back in to rent. That's the really exciting film. It's what they're going to be renting next. But yeah, it's been great to meet so many new people. And this is what I've been taking. This was an important rental for me. This was a customer of mine whose son rented for the first time. And that's always really nice when you have a generational swap whereby you've been serving their mum for so long, a decade or more in the store. Then for the first time their son comes in. The son was going away with some friends to a cabin in the middle of the woods, which is the perfect setting to watch a horror film. So they rented Slugs, which is exciting, and that's great. But it's really cool to kind of see a new generation coming in, sort of passing the torch down. So hopefully they'll get the bug with Slugs. How couldn't you? How could you not? And they'll come in and make it a regular thing. I don't know if you remember Found. Do you remember watching Found? I thought that was a great indie horror movie. I really did like it, directed by Scott Shermer. I thought it was great, really strong. Shane Beasley was in it. It was released by a really cool label called Monster Pictures. They really, of all the small town labels, I thought they released a magnificent range of films. I've got some down here. I really should showcase to you. But yeah, just a range of, Excision, for example. That was another one of theirs. Bold, exciting horror movies. Dear God No, another great film. Bold, exciting, original horror movies. What's this over here? Another interesting one. Monstro. I mean, that's a fantastic release. Again, it's just they were releasing stuff that nobody else was putting out. And this is another one, a favourite of mine that they put out. British one, The Fallow Field. This was great. So yeah, I do like anything released by Monster Picks. Their output has really slowed down. I think they are pretty much exclusively releasing stuff to stream now, unknowingly. But Found was fantastic. Anyway, Found isn't on loan. Slight digression. But Headless, the sequel, is. I bought this off a friend of mine. I wasn't aware of its release initially, but this is a limited edition of 1,000 copies. I think it's a pressed disc, but nevertheless they self-distributed it, and it's not a bad sequel. It's not a bad sequel to a fairly iconic horror film. So yeah, that was really cool to see that one going out. Complete blind rental by a customer. I hope they like it. One of my favourite Hitchcock films went out. That is Rope. I love that film. It's so good. Such a hidden kind of underbelly about it. Just a nod and a wink and all that kind of thing. Great performances by Farley Granger and John Dahl. I love that film. I must watch it again. Another British horror that went out this week, requested as well, was A Dark Song. And I know that kind of the underrated term is overused, and we get underrated apportioned to films like Halloween 3, and it's not the case. Underrated should be saved for films that are genuinely underrated and barely thought about. This is possibly one of them. It's a brilliant film directed by Liam Gavin, and I'm glad that one of my customers somehow found it mentioned on a list or an article or a website and has decided to rent it. So that's very, very cool indeed. One of the best Vinegar Syndrome releases of recent years, and certainly one that I point out to people who are kind of a little bit bewildered and overawed by the Vinegar Syndrome selection, is Shallow Grave. I think it's fantastic. Just well, it's got a Hitchcockian link, I would say. It's a great release, really is good. Directed by Richard Stiles, made in '84. And yeah, I do like this film a great deal. Really edgy, tense thriller, and it's great to see it renting. Finally, Lee got his hands on Vision Quest after waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks for Warner Archive to get their arses into gear, and finally they have. So Lee has got his wish. Star 80 just continues to rent week after week after week, which is great to see. Obviously, a lot of people remember it from when it first came out, and a lot of people are keen to reconnect. So yeah, it's good to see that going out. And finally, in this week's on loan section, my last customer last night were two boys that I've never been in before. And it's always that kind of thing where you see like a pair of lads walk in and you think, well, what are you doing? Are you genuine, or are you just having a nose? And I kind of left them and sort of followed them around for a bit, like a stalker, trying to overhear their conversation. And I kind of heard buzzwords like Criterion and Vinegar Syndrome and IMDb Top 250 and stuff. So I kind of got the vibe, though, obviously real hardcore cinephiles. And they rented some really cool films that they apparently heard of this place in Italy. Even though they lived down the road, they heard of this place while on holiday in Italy. Because we went to Italy, and there's a video rental store in Italy. And that made them look to see where there was a video rental store in the UK. And lo and behold, one of the last two video stores in the UK happens to be literally half a mile away from where they live. How they didn't know, I don't know, but I don't care, because they are here now, and they rented the Kurosawa film Cure, which has been renting like hell recently. I think I only mentioned it on the show last week. Probably not, actually. I think I mentioned it to a customer last week, to say that Cure is fantastic, but also creepy. Also by Kiyoshi Kurosawa is well worth a look as well, so I hope people get renting that. And there we go. That is this week's On Loan. What do we got next? Should we open some boxes? Let's open some boxes. Well, let's go through the ones on the counter first, right? We've done those. This is a weird one for you. See if you can get your head around this. This is the kind of mail I get. I don't know if it's fan mail. It's like a ransom note. You know, we have your Aunt Sheila, and we will release her on the payment of the bounty. And it says, I'm currently clearing my parents' house and came across these pre-recorded VHS tapes. I wondered if you'd be interested in any of them, as some are rare, especially the German opera ones. I don't know why people would think that I want German opera tapes. Strange one, but nevertheless. But not only a cutout letter. I also have literally printed off pictures of what they have. So it's like those rarities like Billy Elliot and As Good as It Gets and Bruce Almighty. No, admittedly there is some interesting stuff like blackboards, for example, and Collier, and as they say, a few operas, Lily Savage, and a bit of a do the complete first series. But generally speaking, that's an oddity, just an oddity. But nevertheless, sadly, I have no interest in any, unfortunately. I'm not really looking for that kind of thing. But still, it's interesting. I guess some people, if they're clearing out maybe their parents' house who maybe deceased, I can see a kind of begrudging desire to bin stuff. But unfortunately, a lot of stuff that people have is worthless, and even I'm not even looking at it for a profit thing. It's just purely for preservation. But this isn't my cup of tea, sadly. But thank you anyway. Thank you for the letter. I really do appreciate it. It's nice to be thought of in that degree, but alas, not much use to me. Customer asked for The Assassin, the remake of the Luc Besson film, directed by John Badham. Surprised I didn't have this in. So I was keen to get it. I know it's not on Blu-ray as well, but I thought the DVD will do just fine. Another customer request that came in this week was The Grey Man, which is a great little serial killer thriller about Albert Fish with Brian Cox. Bizarrely, my copy of this seems to have gone by the by. I don't know why. These things do happen occasionally. Sometimes a customer will wander in and will say, I'm desperate for a copy of this. Will you sell it to me? And I'm like, oh, okay, you can buy it. I'll get a new one if it's readily available. So sometimes I'll do that. But I'll get serving a customer straight after. I'll slip my mind. And lo and behold, 15 years later, someone will come in and want to rent it. But anyway, so yeah, The Grey Man is now in. Another customer request, another weird one that I didn't have with this Walter Hill film, Johnny Hampson. A young lad asked me for this, so I was keen to get it in. Obviously, Walter Hill, major director, a big fan of a lot of his films. Streets of Fire, Last Man Standing I really like as well. So yeah, very keen to get that in, so glad I have. What else came in? Again, I keep on ticking Dan Aykroyd films off my list, even when I'm convinced that I have them all, but I didn't have this, Feeling Minnesota. I remember seeing this at the multiplex, the Showcase Cinema in Nottingham in 1996, the weekend that it came out. Produced by Jersey Films, Danny DeVito's company, starring Keanu Reeves, Cameron Diaz, Vincent D'Onofrio, Delroy Lindo, Courtney Love, Tuesday Weld, and of course Dan Aykroyd. It's not the most successful film, but it's worth a look. It's got some good points in it, got some good moments, but I'm glad to have it in. I was speaking on Twitter quite recently about the TV series. I've been going through a few TV series recently. Tales from the Dark Side. It's one of those that I had in the back. I've got about 100 TV series in the back. I'll take you through them one week. I passed the too much information, but I passed the TV series every time I go to the bathroom and it wouldn't work. So I walked past the TV series and obviously glanced at them and I'm like, oh, I must watch that again, And Tales from the Dark Side has been sitting there for 15 years. And I've never dipped into it. I've always been curious. And so I kind of asked the question on Twitter, if you just wanted to cherry pick the best Tales from the Dark Side episodes, which would you go for? And so people were very, very forthcoming in their responses, and they were great. I watched a handful of really great episodes that were fantastic. But it made me realize as well that I didn't have the movie, of course, which is definitely a must-have, isn't it? So yeah, I was keen to get that, and here it is. It was going virtually out of print, believe it or not. So I was really pleased to get that in, and it's rented out already. It just came back yesterday, so that's cool. I paid over the odds for this. It was the last Mel Brooks film I didn't have. This thin box edition was released originally in the Mel Brooks collection, but I didn't want the collection because I have everything apart from this one film. Thankfully, there's a guy on eBay who's willing to sell this as a standalone, even though it says not for individual sale on the back. I don't really care. The fact that I now have a copy of Life Stinks is absolutely fantastic, and that is my Mel Brooks collection complete. Aside from Get Smart, I could do with getting in Get Smart, the original TV series, because I used to love that as a kid. Also, another customer recommendation. Can't remember who recommended it, but they said you might want to get Avanti in. Can I remember who did that? No, I don't remember. But anyway, I've got it in. Avanti. It looks absolutely hysterical. Again, it's one of those weird things weird films that you just miss for some bizarre reason. I thought I had the majority of Billy Wilder's films, but I didn't have this one. Here it is. Very exciting. And yeah, I know you're going to shout, but I've started collecting VHS again, but I'm going to be very, very strict with myself. I'm going to curate these new purchases very, very strictly. Only stuff that is not available on any other format. So I thought, right, I'll begin. This was bidding at a good price with no bids. So I thought I'll go for Undercover Assassin, the David A. Pryor film from the early 90s. Big fan of David A. Pryor. I do love his movies. I've got one up here in the Culture Shock collection, which is Raw Nerve. I pull that down, which I do love. It's one of his best. But yeah, I love David A. Pryor. But what struck me about this is obviously brilliant cast: Robert Davi, Charles Napier. Who else have we got in it? Bo Hopkins, Tony Curtis. I mean, great cast. But two things that struck me, which I love, and this is the great thing about VHS. It's so tangible. Three great things about VHS, even though I hate the format, because I hate the mold that inevitably comes with a lot of these tapes. But this is completely clean. But three great things I really love about VHS is as follows. This can sit on the shelf, or this used to sit on the shelf alongside every other VHS, whether it be Pretty Woman, For Weddings and a Funeral, and it just blended in. I loved the way. That was the great thing about video shops, and the films were so expensive. You would only have one copy of each film, back in the day. And every film was equal. You walk into Blockbuster at the end of the 90s, they'd have, 100 copies of Trainspotting, and it'd be like, oh, right, and then one copy of this. But back in the day, back in the early 90s with the indies, you would have one copy of everything, and everything was equal. I love that. Also, this is a no-budget David A. Pryor film. However, TV and radio advertised. TV, and imagine seeing an advert on TV for a David A. Pryor film. Wouldn't that be amazing? Finally, just the quotes on the back. The quotes on the back are just absolutely amazing. US Critics' Choice. Remarkable. More twists than all of Hitchcock's films put together. Has there been a better pull quote than that ever? No. So yeah, being very selective with my VHS purchases, maybe one or two a week, but it's strictly stuff like that has special value to me. I've got two more things to show you that came in this week that I'm very, very excited about. One is this. Now, I bought two of these. I gave one to Matthew Budrevich as sort of a congratulations gift for finishing our Gary Graver book. And I've been really excited about this coming. It was a nightmare to get over here because, I don't know, it just took ages to process. But anyway, we have a running in-joke in our audio commentaries. Whenever we do an audio commentary, we always have to mention silk stockings. Because whenever we do an audio commentary, one of the actors, one of the directors, one of the writers, someone connected with the film has a connection to silk stockings. It's like the 6 degrees of silk stockings. Honestly, if you don't know what silk stockings is, it was a TV series from the early 90s. Ran for 8 seasons, 176 episodes. It was created by Stu Seagal, who did Drive-In Massacre and some porn films like Teeny Buns. And it was also created by Stephen J. Cannell, the legendary American producer who of course did A-Team and stuff like that. It's a weird kind of fusion of soap and exploitation, and that to me is perfect. That is, to me, is absolute. That is what I want in a TV series. Just that blend of soap and exploitation. It's so good. It really is so good. I started watching it from the pilot episode, and you got to think to yourself, the people involved most of them come from a B-movie background, which is the most exciting thing. It's like, you watch the first episode, it's directed by Don Edmonds. Don Edmonds, of course, did 2 of the Ilsa movies. Episode 2, directed by Worth Keeter. Worth Keeter, of course, directed Snapdragon with Pamela Anderson, and a few other mega films. He did Werewolf in 1979 with Alan Ormsby, which must be watched if you can get a copy of it anywhere. So yeah, every episode you go in, you recognise people and you think, oh, that guy's like a B-movie icon. And like in every episode. And so it gives it a real B-movie charm, but with a polished Stephen J. Cannell thing. It's like the first 12 episodes, the production design is by Steven Sayadian. Steven Sayadian, of course, directed the brilliant Cafe Flesh, which if you haven't seen or heard of it, you must check it out because it's quite an experience. But yeah, Steven Sayadian. So if you look at Cafe Flesh and then you realise that Stephen Ciadian did the production design for the first 12 episodes to give it its look, then you can kind of understand a bit more about the series. And of course, Stephen Ciadian wrote 2 pornos for Gary Graver, so that again is another connection, and that's really, really cool. Obviously, there's a downside with this. The downside is it's a really cheap box set. VEI put it out on DVD last year. Never heard of VEI before. The synopsis on the back say that Charlie Brill and Mitzi McCall co-star in the top-rated 4th season of this notorious... It's not the 4th season, it's the complete season, but they've copy and pasted the wrong synopsis on the back. That's fair enough. So wait till you see this. This might make you cry. Obviously, everything is contained in one box. Wait till you see this. It takes a bit of a... need to go down the gym. Oh, there we go. So, obviously, I've taken the first disc out, so that's why it looks weird. But yeah, the discs are stored like this, which is a bit weird. So, yeah, like, you know, those strange people. Apologies if you're one of them. Those strange people who don't like to have their DVDs on show, so they strip down all their DVD cases and sleeves and store all their films in these. This reminds me of those people. And again, apologies if you're one of those people. I have nothing against you. It's just not my cup of tea. So yeah, every disc is stored in this 32 discs. And there we have it. So that's a bit weird. It's a bit unconventional. But it wasn't expensive, considering the content. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. But obviously, it's not the most ergonomically impressive collection, but I have it, so I don't care. There we are, Silk Stockings. Also, it says it's region 1 on the back. It's not region 1 because I put it on my PS5 last night and it works, so we're good. A few more bits. A few more bits. Had a box in from my PO box in America. A few orders stacked up, so I got them shipped over, of which Silk Stockings was one. I got one single title from Severin last month, which was the Buddy Giovinazzo film, which is No Way Home with Tim Roth and James Russo and Deborah Kara Unger. This was going out of print at Severin. I've never seen it, but I'm a huge fan of Buddy because, of course, he directed Combat Shock, which is just an amazing, one of the best kind of post-Vietnam fallout films that you will ever see. It's stunning. So I kind of expected the same with this. But yeah, it's going out of print, and I thought that I think it was £8 they knocked it down to. So for £8 on Blu-ray, I need to have this, otherwise you may never get it again. Or if you will, it'll be at least 3 times that. So yeah, I got that. I got on a couple of Warner Archive films. Wicked. Oh, that's loose. Oh. So what was my worst case scenario with Warner Archive? Because of course all the films are on DVD-Rs, and DVD-Rs scratch so easily. So hopefully this hasn't been rattled about too much. But yeah, Wicked. Someone mentioned it to me. Yeah, we're not too bad. Yeah, we're okay there. But yeah, Wicked. Someone mentioned it to me. Can't remember who. But it looks absolutely fascinating. Yeah, filmed split screen, isn't it? So it just sounds really, really cool. I don't know much about it, but it kind of looks amazing. So looking forward to that. And the other Warner Archive release I got was a Wes Craven film I didn't have, which was Deadly Friend. This was a TV movie they did? Was it TV movie? I forget, but there's some reason it's not out in a more sort of regular release, which is strange. I don't think I've seen this before, but I can't remember. But yeah, I was keen to get it, and here it is. Hopefully it's region free, but I must take that home and double check. But with it being on Warner Brothers, not Warner Archive, then I'll just double check that. And oh yeah, also from Amazon, we had the latest Film Masters release, which I really can't wait to see. This is their first team up with something weird. So it's a double feature of Common Law Wife and Jenny, Wife/Child. Good Lord. So yeah, these are the typical exploitation films from the early 60s, and they sound absolutely fantastic. But yeah, Film Masters, every release is demanding of your attention. I've just bought the latest one, which will be winging its way over here soon, which is the Crippled Masters. Every release of theirs is hands down essential. One of the few labels that I think is worth buying every single release, because they do some great work. And this is the latest, Common Law Wife and Jenny, Wife/Child. Now the rest of these I'll just go through very, very quickly, because I don't think you'll be particularly interested in. They were from the SRS. I don't know if you're familiar with the label SRS. SRS Cinema liquidation sales. So these are all £2. Bargain. So yeah, I got a couple of Mark Polonio films, because I've only got 30 up there, so I'll do a few more. So yeah, this was directed by Mark Polonio and his son Anthony. Hell on the Shelf. Looks fantastic. Another one from Polonio. This was Anthony Polonio, Mark's son. This is Zilla Foot, which looks really, really cool. I see his dad starring in that as well, so yeah, very nice indeed. We have more Polonio, do we? Deadly Playthings. Deadly Playthings is my third and final Polonio from this stash. And then just a couple of really low budget films that I did quite fancy. Yeah, Bad CGI Sharks. Enough said. Then we have, you can see a thread, Raiders of the Lost Shark, which will fit nicely into my shark exploitation section. And finally, House Shark, which is directed by Mr. SRS himself, Ron Bonk. You're going to need a bigger house. So yeah, a bit for my shark exploitation section there, and some cool Warner releases. I must go and take home Deadly Friend just to make sure that it's all a-okay. And yeah, that's what's in the box. So we'll just finish off with a quick troll through the comments. Not many comments this week. You've all been very quiet, but that's okay, because we don't have much time anyway. Paul Berryman says, great way to start my Saturday morning with a new episode of Inside the Video Store. He enjoyed Civil War, which is great. Okay. He picked up Challenges as well, but he's yet to see it. But yeah, like myself, he says that every Luca Guadagnino film that he's seen has been fantastic, which of course Call Me By Your Name is his favourite, and rightly so. It's a brilliant piece of work, so thank you, Paul. Yeah, Film Wolf says, in relation to VHS that I spoke about last week, I was watching Tubi, which had a watchable VHS rip of Godfrey Ho's Ninja Terminator. Pan and scan. Right, But in the left of the screen, I just saw this drawer open, and clearly the ninja was searching for something, but he wasn't on screen. Then he runs into the frame, hops the bed, searches the other drawer, which you could see, but yeah. It looks like a bit of a strange cut, but this is now, Ninja Terminator has just come out on Blu-ray courtesy of Cauldron Films, so I'm sure that will be a far better release. And of course Lee comments that he's made up the Vision Quest has arrived, and he has come in and rented it. While Kyle McLaughlin suggests that it's great to hear that it's been busy and you're going to start a revolution. I don't think I am, Kyle, but if only, maybe one day. Oh, Kyle also mentioned Amazon Japan, which I'd never ordered from Amazon Japan before. I don't know why. No specific reason. I just never gravitated towards those. Kind of juggle UK, Germany, and America. So he says that he's ordered some great Beat Takashi Blu-rays from Amazon Japan. So that may be worth thinking out. He sent me a great list of films to check out over there. So I will certainly do that as long as they're UK friendly. Skulder says another interesting episode, and Alex Garland didn't direct The Beach. Danny Boyle did. Yes, I know. I watched the show back once before I put it on live, and the second I said that Alex Garland directed The Beach, I immediately slapped myself across the face. Crazy. And finally, Terry Uller says that any idea when that 90s movie book will be out, Dave? I don't know, Terry. We've written a book called Schlock and Awe, The Forgotten Films of the 90s Rental Realm, which is a multi-volume book. We're going to have about 4 or 5 volumes if it's successful, with about 250, 300 films in each one, where we discuss and interview people connected with films that have just disappeared. You know, films that were released in the 90s for the video store market, but have never graduated beyond VHS or first generation DVD. Like I say, we've written volume 1, it's finished, the manuscript is done, it's ready to be sent to the publisher, but I want to go back in and change a few things that don't quite work. So now that Gary Graver is finished, yay, we're going to go back in and do that and hopefully get off to the publisher in the new year. So that is my aim. We've got the artwork done, we've got intro written, we've got a forward done, we've got everything, every aspect is complete. But it just doesn't quite work in the way we've done it. So I just want to juggle things about a bit. But yeah, we're really proud of it. And it's so important to keep on writing about films that haven't been discovered in this generation, stuff that's been left behind on another format. You know, we all deserve to get the opportunity to learn about films like Undercover Assassin and the history behind them, because so many great filmmakers, and of course it was such a busy period. All these films are coming out for video shops, and we were just so confident. We're so confident that all these videos would be fine. They would make it to the next generation. They would come out on DVD. But so many haven't. So many thousands have been left behind on VHS, and they're really, really cool films. So if we can bring some attention to some of them, and if it means that one of these films gets picked up by a Blu-ray label, then that will be absolutely fantastic, and that's our aim, really. But we shall see. Finally we have some Sleeping Giants. Just go through them quickly. I thought this week I'll stick to the MGM MOD collection. This is the MGM Manufactured on Demand collection. A few of these are really, really classy films that aren't streaming. Well, this one's a bit of a cheat. The Caller is streaming, but only on Apple. It's such a great film. Everyone talks about Empire Pictures, Charlie Band's company. And if you speak about Empire Pictures from the 80s, you will say Reanimator, you will say Troll, you will say Ghoulies, you might say Zone Troopers. But to me, in my top 5 is definitely The Caller. It's a brilliant, brilliant film. Malcolm McDowell, Madeline Smith, kind of one location sort of thing. It's like a play, but it's a brilliant film. Absolutely brilliant. Just hooks you in. And deserves a bigger audience. I know Vinegar Syndrome put it out on Blu-ray, but that is now out of print, and that was a region-locked Blu-ray, unfortunately. So I have it here, but sadly, it's difficult to play it in this country. This one isn't streaming from the MGM collection. It's The Siege of Firebase Gloria. This was the film that introduced in person Brian Trinchard Smith to Quentin Tarantino, because of course Quentin Tarantino did a screening of this in Hollywood, invited Brian Trinchard Smith and got to meet for the first time. Tarantino was a massive fan of Trinchard Smith, as anyone who likes film should be, and especially this film. It's a great war film with Ali Ermey doing a mega job in this alongside Wings Hauser, and it's an absolutely fantastic film. In desperate need of some kind of modern day release onto Blu-ray or something like that, because it's so good. And finally, I was listening to Brian Sauer's latest episode for the Pure Cinema podcast, where they list the 101 films that they feel they've seen 2,000 films, or they've discussed 2,000 films in the Pure Cinema podcast, which is always excellent. And they selected 101 films from there, which they feel still are a little bit underseen and deserve attention. And I think this was one of them. It might not have been, but they always mention this because it's one of the best films that kind of falls by the wayside. Peter Hyams directed it, and it's a great film. It's not streaming in the UK, and if you're ever passing here, I would certainly recommend a rental of Busting with Elliot Gould and Robert Blake. And that is it, I think. Apologies for the chaotic nature of this show, but I quite like it like that because it's good. I know some people do their like vidcasts and they stop and they edit and they tweak it and they do this and they do that and they make it look like a polished thing. But sometimes it's just nice to be organic and just do it from scratch and have a chat for an hour and see what comes up. But yeah, any questions or comments, please comment below. Always good to hear from you. Happy to answer any questions. And yeah, as usual, give me a follow at the usual places. And as always, thanks for sharing this video. Believe it or not, I thought it might have tailed off after our 20 episodes, but we're still hitting somewhere over 400 views, which is really cool. And there's a good level of people watching it for quite a long period of time as well, which I didn't expect. I thought people would be sick of me inside 3 minutes, but believe it or not, a lot of you watch the whole thing, you masochists, which is good. But yeah, that's it for this week, and as usual, I will see you in 7 days' time.